Imagine for a second that you own a small business. Let's say a local roofing company.
Okay, roofing company.
Yeah. And a freak, just highly localized hailstorm batters your city overnight. You wake up at dawn to like 400 missed calls,
Wow.
50 frantic voicemails, your inbox is totally packed, and 3 of your work trucks are already completely out of gas.
And your competitors are probably already mobilizing.
Exactly. They are out there. So you are sitting on this absolute goldmine of potential revenue. But if you don't execute this perfect militaristic response in the next 72 hours, that exact same storm will completely bankrupt you.
It's the ultimate paradox of business. I mean, we are biologically wired to see a massive surge in demand as an automatic victory.
Right, like you've won the lottery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But unchecked demand doesn't scale a business.
Yeah.
It really just exposes every single hidden fracture in your operating system.
Well, welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and whether you are an entrepreneur trying to scale up, maybe a mid-level manager trying to organize an overwhelmed team, or just someone who's, fascinated by how complex systems hold together under extreme pressure, you are in the exact right place.
Yeah, glad to be here to break this down with you.
Because today we are looking at this brilliant masterclass in crisis response. The source material we're digging into is an operational guide, and it's titled Storm to Profit, the 72-hour post-storm operational blueprint.
Yeah, this was created for the RoofCommand CRM Academy, right?
That's the one. And it is entirely focused on how small to mid-sized roofing companies handle these sudden massive spikes in demand right after a major weather event.
But the mechanics outlined here, they go way beyond just the roofing industry.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the blueprint serves as this incredibly detailed autopsy of how companies either harness chaotic influxes of attention or they just completely collapse under the weight of their own success.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What is the actual core thesis we're dealing with here?
So the foundational idea that kind of reorients this entire blueprint is that a storm does not automatically create profit.
Okay.
It creates pressure. The opportunity isn't the storm itself. The
Yeah.
opportunity is precisely what a company does with its operational load in the 72 hours immediately following that event.
Got it. But before we dig into how you systematically capture that opportunity, we kind of have to establish why so many companies get this wrong in the first place.
The illusion of the surge.
Exactly. What is exactly happening under the hood when a business looks at this huge influx of customers and just mistakes that raw demand for guaranteed success?
Well, what you see is a total operational collapse, and it's driven by a complete breakdown in cycle time.
Cycle time.
Yes, cycle time. When a company's totally unprepared, leads don't actually flow into a pipeline. They crash against a capacity ceiling.
Right.
The guide is super clear about the reality on the ground here. Like, a receptionist can only handle so many calls an hour. So you start getting missed calls. Leads just sit unassigned in an inbox. And because communication breaks down internally, you might actually have 2 different sales reps desperately calling the exact same confused homeowner hours apart.
Oh, man, which instantly destroys any trust you had.
Instantly.
The company probably thinks they're winning, though, right? Because the phone is ringing off the hook. Everybody is sweating, running around.
Yeah, but the reality is they are hemorrhaging future revenue because they have no bucket to catch the water.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically confusing frenetic activity with actual achievement.
Which is just a massive scaling failure. I mean, we see this in the tech world all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, imagine a specialized artisanal e-commerce website that suddenly goes completely viral because some huge influencer posts about it.
Right. Millions of hits in a single hour.
Exactly. But if they haven't architected their server infrastructure to handle all those concurrent database requests at that scale, the surge doesn't actually make them rich.
No, it breaks them.
Yeah, the servers overheat, the shopping carts freeze right during checkout, the site crashes, and they've just frustrated thousands of potential customers. They basically burn their brand reputation to the ground in a single afternoon.
Because the traffic wasn't a gift. It was a stress test that they failed.
Exactly.
And in the roofing industry, that stress test happens out in the physical world with very high stakes. So to survive it, successful companies, they don't react to the storm itself. They react to their own predetermined blueprint.
They let the system absorb the shock.
Precisely.
Which I guess brings us to the actual mechanics of the blueprint. How do the pros bottle up that initial explosive pressure without the whole system just crashing?
Well, according to the source, the first hurdle isn't getting trucks onto driveways.
It's not.
No, the first hurdle is gathering intelligence and triaging the bleeding. This is where we see this really fascinating shift from emotional reaction to calculated execution.
Okay, so what does that look like in the first 0 to 24 hours?
The blueprint dictates that the immediate focus must be strictly on what they call storm intelligence and internal readiness.
Storm intelligence.
Yeah, nobody is blindly driving around looking for damaged shingles. It is incredibly systematic. You're mapping the affected neighborhoods down to the street level. You use technology to overlay hail and wind impact zones with your existing service areas.
Oh, wow. So you aren't just taking the very first call that comes in and driving like 40 miles across town.
Definitely not.
Because that would destroy your routing efficiency for the rest of the day.
Exactly. You are building a strict geographic perimeter before you even try to operate inside it.
That makes a ton of sense.
And that geographic discipline is vital, but the internal alignment is just as important. In that critical early window, leadership is finalizing team assignments, distributing the exact communication scripts the team will use, and just locking down those target zones.
And once that foundation is set,
Once it's set, the bottleneck immediately moves to the front desk. The leads are populating now, and the intake process has to transition into ruthless triage.
okay, let's talk about the mechanics of that triage because it sounds intense. I mean, reading the blueprint, it separates incoming leads into very distinct categories, right?
It does. Urgent leaks, inspection requests, existing past customers, high probability insurance jobs, commercial properties, and then lower priority inquiries.
Right, but how do you manage that? You can't have a human being frantically writing names on sticky notes.
No, you can't. And this is exactly where the structural friction of a sudden surge demands technology. The blueprint heavily leans on utilizing CRM platforms to automate all this categorization.
Okay.
The system takes that inbound lead, automatically tags it by zip code, cross-references it with the existing customer database to see if it's a legacy client, and assigns a priority score all before a human even makes a single decision.
Okay, but wait, what does this all mean for the panicked homeowner? Because I have to push back a little on this whole concept of ruthless categorization.
Sure, go for it.
If you are dealing with actual human beings who have, water dripping into their living rooms,
Yeah.
how does a company balance the cold, objective logic of prioritizing a high-probability commercial job while someone with an urgent leak is literally crying on the phone?
It's tough.
Like, how do you triage these people without completely alienating them, especially when every single person calling naturally expects to be priority number one?
It is a really critical tension, and honestly, the optics of triage can feel incredibly harsh. It feels like you're ignoring the person in pain to chase the bigger paycheck.
Right, that's exactly what it feels like.
But the underlying reality is actually the exact opposite. Triage isn't about ignoring people. It's about organizing the chaos so that everyone gets an appropriate promised response time.
Based on capacity.
Exactly. Based on capacity and an objective system, rather than just whoever happens to yell the loudest on the phone.
Because if an overwhelmed receptionist is forced to make split-second moral decisions on the phone, the whole system just breaks down. They overpromise.
Yes. Which is the worst possible outcome for the homeowner, really.
How so?
Well, if you don't use automated triage to filter all that noise, the screaming homeowner with a minor missing shingle might get an emergency response. Meanwhile, the quiet, elderly customer with a fully caved-in roof gets completely lost in the administrative shuffle.
Oh, man, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, by systematically categorizing the leads, the company can deploy specialized emergency crews specifically to the active leaks. They can route the high-value commercial jobs to senior estimators, and they give honest, mathematically accurate timelines to everyone else.
So the objective system actually protects the customer experience far better than emotional scrambling ever could.
Exactly. You are managing expectations systematically.
You're replacing the phrase, "we'll get there as soon as we can," which honestly means absolutely nothing.
Right.
With, "you are in our queue for Thursday afternoon," which provides immense psychological relief to a stressed-out homeowner.
Yes, clarity is a huge relief.
Okay, so the intel is gathered, the triage is automated, and the bleeding at the front desk is controlled. The bottleneck now moves to the field, right?
The ground game.
The ground game. But getting a team onto a damaged roof isn't the finish line. According to the blueprint, arriving at the house is actually where most of these companies accidentally sabotage their own sales.
It's true. It is the single most vulnerable friction point in the entire process. The crew arrives, They get out the ladder, they climb up, but the physical inspection is only half the job.
Wow, really?
Yeah, the blueprint hammers home the absolute necessity of rigorous documentation. We are talking about taking highly specific photos, detailing notes, recording the exact roof condition, documenting specific homeowner concerns, and gathering vital insurance context.
So it's not just taking a wide shot of the house and saying, yep, needs a new roof.
Far from it. That precise documentation is the entire foundation of the subsequent sale. And honestly, more importantly, it is what legally protects the company later during the insurance adjusting process.
Because if they miss something.
A missed photo on the roof means the insurance company might deny a portion of the claim,
Oh, wow.
which means the homeowner is angry and out of pocket, which means the job is lost or the profit margin just totally vanishes, all because an inspector on a ladder felt rushed and skipped a step in the software.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Just think about the incredible irony of this bottleneck.
Yeah.
A company can successfully track a storm system, utilize their CRM to perfectly triage all these leads, dispatch a highly trained crew, have that crew climb a 2-story residential roof in the blistering heat, do 99% of the grueling physical labor perfectly,
Yep.
only to lose the entire deal because someone forgot to click send on a finalized email proposal.
It happens all the time. And what's fascinating here is the psychological shift required by the operational blueprint to prevent that exact failure.
What kind of shift?
It demands that the physical labor of the inspection and the administrative labor of the proposal be treated with the exact same level of urgency.
It's like running a 26-mile marathon and then stopping 1 inch before the finish line just to tie your shoe
Exactly.
and allowing 3 competitors to just blow right past you. You did all the heavy lifting, but you lost the race because of a minor administrative lapse at the very end.
Yeah.
But why is that specific transition from the inspection to the proposal so difficult for these companies to manage?
Because of the adrenaline we talked about earlier. During a surge, the physical labor feels like the quote-unquote real work.
Right.
There are 50 more houses to inspect today. The adrenaline pushes the inspector to jump back in the truck and rush to the next crisis.
So sitting at a laptop in the truck to carefully assemble an estimate and send an email just feels really slow.
It feels completely unproductive when the phone is ringing. But the blueprint argues that failing to send a clear proposal or failing to strictly schedule the next immediate step with the homeowner completely negates all of that physical effort.
The cycle time from inspection to proposal is literally the ultimate metric for closing ratios during a demand surge.
It dictates everything. In a crisis, clarity is comforting.
Yeah.
If you leave the homeowner hanging for 2 days while you run out to do more inspections, a competitor with a better administrative system is going to walk right in, hand them a clear proposal, and take the job.
The follow-up discipline is where the actual profit is captured.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's assume the discipline holds. The proposal is generated on site, it's sent rapidly, the deal is signed, the company has successfully navigated all that front-end chaos.
They've made it through the hardest part.
But we still have a massive hurdle left, don't we? How does leadership ensure the actual physical production of, say, 30 new roofs doesn't just completely fall apart behind the scenes?
Right. And this brings us to the production handoff. The blueprint really tackles the extreme danger of what they call information silos between the sales team and the production department.
Right.
Things like material ordering, scheduling the actual labor crews, generating purchase orders, calculating sales commissions, and meticulous job costing. All of this must be integrated into the CRM immediately.
Because you can't have a salesman write a cryptic note on a physical manila folder, drop it on the production manager's desk, and just expect a complex construction project to go smoothly.
No, absolutely not. That silo guarantees that the wrong color shingles will be ordered or the crew will show up on the completely wrong day.
The transition of data just has to be seamless.
Which is exactly why the owner's role has to drastically shift as the surge progresses. The blueprint introduces what it calls the owner dashboard mindset.
Okay, owner dashboard mindset.
The central mandate is that the business owner should not be in the weeds of any individual job. They have to elevate their perspective.
The source mentions they need to pull themselves out of the field and act much more like an air traffic controller.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, if you're an air traffic controller, you aren't down on the tarmac waving those orange flashlights to guide a single plane into a gate.
Right.
You are sitting up in the tower watching the high-level radar, making sure the entire airspace doesn't turn into a catastrophic collision.
That is the perfect analogy for the owner dashboard mindset. The owner needs to be looking at a very specific set of high-level metrics flowing through their software.
Like what kind of metrics?
They are tracking the total number of leads generated. They're watching the lead to appointment velocity. They are monitoring inspections scheduled versus inspections actually completed.
Wow.
They need visibility on estimates sent, proposals pending signature, and jobs officially signed.
And they're also tracking the financial health in real time too, right? Like expected revenue versus expected gross profit.
Yes, alongside individual sales rep performance. And this is really where a platform like RoofCommand acts as the central nervous system of the entire operation.
Right, pulling it all together.
It quietly organizes this incredibly chaotic ecosystem. The intake forms, the photos, the estimates, the invoices, the internal communications.
So the data flowing upward to the owner's dashboard remains highly accurate without anyone having to manually audit a massive stack of paperwork.
Exactly.
But wait, let's look at the psychology of the entrepreneur for a second.
Okay.
During a massive crisis, like a highly localized storm that just wrecked half a county, shouldn't a business owner be out in the field?
You think so, right?
Yeah. Shouldn't they be rolling up their sleeves, climbing ladders alongside their team, and leveraging their own expertise to maximize the company's output? I mean, it almost feels like a dereliction of duty to sit behind a computer screen looking at closing ratios when your entire staff is swamped and exhausted.
This raises such an important question, and it really gets to the heart of why so many small to mid-sized businesses fail to successfully scale their operations.
How so?
The Blueprint's core philosophy directly attacks this hero-owner mentality.
Wow.
The harsh truth is, if the owner's on a roof, no one is watching the dashboard.
Wow. If you are doing the work, you aren't directing the flow.
Exactly.
You've completely abandoned the tower to go park a single airplane.
And while you are parking that one airplane, the airspace turns into chaos. If the owner is bogged down inspecting one single house for 3 hours because it's a complicated job, they are completely blind to the macro-level failures happening across the company.
Right. They don't see that 50 new leads just came in and hit a wall.
They don't see that 3 of their reps haven't sent out their proposals from yesterday. They don't realize the production team is about to order the wrong materials for a massive commercial project.
Oh, man.
The owner must stay above the fray. They have to delegate the physical work to their specialized teams so they can ensure the operational system itself doesn't collapse under its own weight.
Because the system is the actual product the owner is managing.
Exactly.
The ultimate takeaway from this entire blueprint is profound, really, and it completely shatters the way we normally think about demand. The company that wins after a storm is not always the company with the most leads.
No, it's not.
It is the company with the clearest, most frictionless operating system.
That structural clarity is the dividing line between organized profit and total operational chaos. It is what allows a business to absorb pressure rather than fracture under it.
So to kind of synthesize this incredibly intense operational journey for you, handling a massive sudden influx of business isn't about working harder.
Right.
It's not about running faster or relying on the sheer willpower of your team. It is about executing a rigid, predetermined, systematic blueprint.
Which starts with disciplined intelligence gathering and automated objective triage to protect the customer experience.
Yes, and then it moves into strict, meticulous documentation and unwavering administrative discipline to ensure those cycle times remain short.
And finally, it culminates in a seamless, data-driven handoff to production, overseen by a leader who just refuses to leave the dashboard.
It truly is a masterclass in transforming pure external pressure into sustainable, highly organized internal momentum.
And honestly, the principles of bottleneck management and cycle time reduction apply whether you are fixing roofs, deploying software, or managing a global supply chain.
And this brings it right back to you listening to this. Think about your own workspace, your own industry, the bottlenecks in your own daily routines.
Yeah, take a look at your own systems.
When an unexpected surge hits, whether it's a massive influx of new clients, a sudden shift in market demands, or honestly, even just a week where your inbox absolutely explodes with urgent requests, do you rely on a clear, step-by-step operating system that filters all that noise?
Or do you just rely on adrenaline, hope, and working longer hours until you totally burn out?
Which leaves us with one final, deeply fascinating idea to consider. We've just spent this entire time dissecting how a hyper-organized, rigid operational sprint defines the success of a highly reactive, crisis-driven business model like storm restoration.
Right.
But what would happen to a normal, everyday business if it applied this exact same militaristic surge response mindset to a completely ordinary, quiet week?
Oh, wow.
Imagine treating a random Tuesday in November with the exact same ruthless triage, proposal discipline, and high-level dashboard tracking as you would a post-Hurricane Wednesday.
That would be a game changer.
Maybe that massive line of customers wrapping around the block. You know, that elusive lightning in a bottle we all dream about catching. Maybe it isn't an accident of weather or going viral at all.
No.
Maybe the lightning only strikes when the bottle is perfectly engineered to catch it.